Welcome to today's Multigen mini masterclass. We are really diving into good, fun topic today for this episode. We're going to talk about personal experience with multigen living and a little bit of professional expertise because Trina is one of my favorite realtors. So, of course,
No.
I'm going to pick her brain. I am so excited, Trina, that you're here. This is Trina Woods. Trina and I go way back, probably 15 years or more. We're
Yeah.
from the same South Carolina area, and Trina has helped me on multiple real estate transactions over the years. Same with several of our friends. Um, I can say firsthand that Trina, you are a class act and one of my, like I said, favorite realtors, but more so inspirations when it comes to like women doing business and
Well,
women building life on their terms. And it's really important. And you're just the definition of a true professional. So thank
well,
you
I
so
feel the same
much.
way about you. I think that you are a dynamo, and it's exciting to see you. If something's interesting, you're going to dig in and you're going to find out about it and explore it and, share it with others. And I appreciate that about you, Erin.
Well, thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So, Trina is a top tier broker, real estate expert in Summerville, South Carolina. She has also lived multi-generationally herself, sharing her home with her father.
Mhm.
And that's where I've invited her on so we can talk through some of that experience and she can share a little bit of her insights, both personally and professionally. So, should we dive in?
Do it. Let's
All
go.
right. Well, let's start with your multi-gen journey. Your father moved in, you said, because it was a medical need and it was kind of
Yes.
an urgent thing. How did that decision come about, and what was that transition like at the beginning?
So there had been health issues, and he lived in another state, and it just became apparent like he wasn't going to take the necessary steps. He needed an advocate, and that needed to be a family member. And so it really wasn't a pre-discussion. He just had a need. He was younger. Faculties are all there, thinking like, okay, well, let's get him and get him bolstered up. And it really wasn't a pre-discussion. It was, this is an emergency. In the car, driving across, to the states, go pick him up, bring him back. And as he's back, the whole family is trying to prepare a space for him. So that's not the ideal situation, but
No.
that's how it came about. You recognized a need, and we filled that need, and it started there.
Well, and I think that's a good point because a lot of times pre-planning isn't available. As
Yeah.
much as we would
Yeah.
all like that, and I'm
Right.
very blessed that that's the case in my situation,
Hmm.
but there's a lot of times, especially with aging parents, that
Hmm.
we do what we have to do
Absolutely.
in the moment. How did your dad respond to that? Was he on board or did he have resistance?
So that's a great question. So he was on board with, come get, yes, like I'm not going to fight you, like it was just like you would want if you were in the hospital. You would want somebody that you knew to be there with you. So we took care of that. But had there been a pre-conversation, it would have been, no, I'm never doing that. I'm not ever going to do that. It would have been there. It would have never been a discussion that you need to come. And the blessing was, once things settled down and we got him settled into a space and he was starting to improve and feel better, I think he really loved it. We watched him thrive in a very short amount of time with the care and with also conversation, because I still had a teenager at home and I had an adult son that could come by and visit. My husband and I both had the ability we were coming and going and sharing. And there was a pet now involved. And so the social interaction that he was able, I think, to start enjoying, that he wasn't really, kind of, I think, helped make it easier
I can imagine
on him. Yeah. But an advanced discussion of, hey, we want you to come here, no,
What do
not
you
going to
think
happen.
his biggest hesitations would have been had that come up that way?
Um, I'm in control of me.
Okay.
I'm the parent. You're the child.
Yep.
Oh, really? Show me that. um, I don't need any help. This is where I've lived all my life. This is where my friends are. Um, if I move, I'm too old to make friends. I'm too old to start over. And so, like fear, you can hear it when you say it back, but they don't recognize that as fear.
Correct. And
Yeah.
that's something that has come up in a lot of the conversations I'm having, and something that we experience even in this embarking on our journey.
Mhm.
That I believe the baby boomer generation, the one before them, they were raised in a way where you put down roots, you live for a very long time,
Mhm.
you work at the same place 40 years, there's very much that squirreling away for a rainy day, saving, um,
Right,
preparing for doomsday type mentality.
right,
And it's
right.
and it's it's totally expected because they were
Mhm.
raised by, folks that went through the Great Depression, and the mentality is very different.
Right.
And it has helped me navigate from a little bit of a place of compassion, which I'm sure you experience too,
Oh,
because
yeah. Yeah.
we are more thinking, show me you're the parent. Like this is I can help you. This is a good
Right.
thing for you. This will
Right.
help enhance your life.
Right.
And I understand why you feel this way. And I
Mhm.
think it's such a gift, maybe in disguise for your situation, that
Mhm.
the discussion didn't have to be had. It was kind of made out of this is what we're doing.
That was totally a gift. It was totally a gift. We, because it would have never happened. It would have never happened. And um because of it's really interesting in hindsight what you learn, and over time what you learn, as that tough exterior of I can do it for myself, I'm the parent, I've always been in charge, that role kind of shifts a little bit, and you can see a softening of, oh, i I wish I'd have done this sooner.
This feels good. This is
Yeah.
nice.
I'm part of a
Yeah.
family. I really am not. I really, I'm like, set the table. Yeah, you want to cook tonight? Great. I mean, it, I'm sure that again, in your travels, you see this, and I think that there's just a vibrancy to the family. There's a benefit to everybody. And I think the most I think that in our culture, in this Western culture, it's get up, be self-sufficient, and be on your own and take care of yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that that works still in a multi-generational environment. And in these, everybody has an expectation that they are caring for they're all contributing to the good, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Building toward a shared goal, building towards whether
Right.
that's, a goal, physical goal, or it's more just
Right.
like we're going to make this work and feel great
Hmm.
to the best of our abilities.
Right. And
And I
it's
think,
family. It's
yes,
not roommate situation. This isn't you're coming to take down a room. It's family and working as a unit together versus you're coming to stay, you're my guest, I'm serving you, all, and you can't do really, you can't go into that room, or you can't go into that room. It is you have to break down that barrier so that it is working as a family, not a guest situation, or a short stay.
that's a
In our case, we didn't know how long it would be. If 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 we had planned for it, we could have planned for it to be in the house would have been laid out differently, or where was that environment going to be, gives everybody a different kind of space, but we didn't plan for it. And if it had become long term, maybe we would have changed some things around. We just didn't know how long it would be. It,
Right.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I think there's advantages to advanced planning, but when there isn't, you're thrown in the mix, and you're like, you gotta beat quickly and mix everybody into the fold as quick as you can.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
talk to me. You mentioned that there, obviously where there's gifts and blessings, there are challenges. And
Mhm.
you talked about, schedules and
Oh
appointments,
yeah. Yeah.
lifestyle routines, and you even went as far as to say that rules had to be established
Right.
with consequences.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about that flip side that is inevitable in everybody's situation.
Yeah, I think boundaries are like, hey, don't you're kind of like, here's where you can run. Um, you don't really talk so much about what happens if you go on the other side of the fence,
Right.
because you're trying to be positive, right? Boundary is a safe word. It's like, this is great. This is what you get. You're talking about all the good things that are happening on the inside. It's when you go outside of the boundaries that things break. And in our situation, I've been married for 30 years and raised my children. And my husband had worked with my father. He had been in an employment relationship with him over the years. And we hadn't had family living by us since we got married. 2 years after we got married, we were on our own. So we weren't, grandma and grandpa weren't coming to visit every weekend. We weren't spending Sundays after church at the table with our family. We were always on our own. So, little things as to, like, if you're going to put your stuff in the washing machine, put it in the dryer, or don't take down, you can't have it the whole day. We got soccer clothes we got to get clean. You just kind of had to, little things like that are just in passing, like, hey, do you mind if I put your stuff in the dryer? Or stopping and saying, does this need to hang dry, because I don't want to shrink it? Or, don't do that again, you just shrank my new cashmere sweater. Yeah, those things kind of, those are sticking points that you kind of learn, like, ooh, we got to say, if you do this, you got to complete it. So that's a little one. But safety things like, um you cannot drive. So you think you can say that to an adult,
And it's a done.
and
It's
it's done. But when you drive and there's a catastrophe, and in my case, that's what happened. He drove, he fell at a gas station. Um, and I didn't know that he was gone because I was somewhere that morning and my husband was mowing the lawn. And he took keys first off. He had to break the boundary, which was, we don't go into each other's bedrooms, which is where the keys were. And I mean, I'm getting more personal, but that's the truth of it, is that tragedy came from that. And he ended up in the hospital. He could have died right then and there. Um, and we didn't know for 3 hours until this, we finally, somebody gets us on the phone and they're like, do you have a so-and-so? We have and you're verifying, and now you're in another rushing situation. So boundaries, when it's a parent child and you're the adult, you really do have a role reversal. And if that respect isn't there, they're looking at you saying, I won't do that. But in their mind, why would I not do that?
right.
So um I don't know if, sharper boundaries, or just, you can't trust that. It's almost like you have to take things from them, because just like you would with your child, um, you can't trust them with certain things. Otherwise, bad things happen. And then guess what? The whole dynamic shifts again because the schedule changed. Now you're at hospital. Now you're at different doctor's appointments. You're starting from scratch again.
It's chaos. Yes,
It's chaos for everybody. It's chaos for the entire family. The pet schedule, the kids schedule, your vacation schedule, your work schedule, your home schedule. Now you have home health care coming in because you're still working, and it's not everybody's going to enter into this in in that emergency situation. But you're joining your life. Usually it's not happening when you're young. You're going to find that different in the referral that I've put you in touch with, that the parents were young and they're all cohabitating together. And that's wonderful. But there's going to come a point,
well, and
and
I
I think most people are doing it,
well, what
you
you're
know.
describing, even if it's not a safety thing or a health thing,
Mhm.
these we have already encountered this. What happens when, in our family, we have some political differences, we have
Yep.
some approaches to life, because again, we've got, us as these on the cusp of millennial Gen X, we've got these baby boomers. What happens when one wants this
Mhm.
flag in the yard on their side,
Right.
but then it's seen for things like that, where you're like, what happens if that
Mhm.
person raises the flag and you've said no?
Right.
Then you're at this weird, well, you got parents, you got children, you've got this weird dynamic. So we're navigating that too. And I'm so glad that
Mhm.
you have mentioned that. And so
Mhm.
thank you for shining a light
Yep.
on it. I
Yeah.
think the flip side, the one thing that I really take away is that even with these challenges that you faced and even these hurdles,
Mhm.
you had some really amazing blessings and a closeness that you were
Mhm.
able to build with your father.
Absolutely. Yeah. Seeing a very different side of your parent, in this case, our parent, in a very different way than I had ever experienced them. And then also revelation, because it in those moments of those tension, the relief is there's somebody who cares for me. And I'm like, yeah, I really want to break your neck right now, but everything else is broken. So I know that you can't get away and you're going to have to listen to this, or tell me, or tell me about how you're there's vulnerability that comes, and there's also compassion. You mentioned compassion because you can't look away from somebody in pain. Most human beings can't. You see somebody in pain and it really doesn't matter what they did to you before
Yeah.
or how they may have made you feel. Most human beings are going to want to care for the person in pain in front of them.
Let
So,
alone they're your parent or your child, or because
right,
this could be the other
right.
way around with a child. Like it is
Mhm.
that love explodes in those moments.
Our family mantra is love does. And
Beautiful.
love does so much. Um, love doesn't care what happened to me yesterday or what came out of your mouth 5 minutes ago, what color your skin is, what's your political affiliations, what's your religious affiliations, who's your favorite SEC football team. You know what I'm saying? It that all melts away and you see a vulnerability. In my case too, my father always had the means, not as a young man, but he was very proud of coming up from a very hard background and being self-made and being successful, to showing coming with a car that he had purchased brand new for one of his grandchildren that was now on three little wheels. He had lost everything. His briefcase, and a fishing pole he hadn't used. Everything was in the trunk of the car, and we have to send somebody to get it. And this is everything this is everything now. So from um, that's pride. And your family learns really quickly. I mean, you learn things that I never knew. It opens up conversations. So in that conflict, nobody likes conflict. But in that conflict, it opens up conversations to get to these rooms that you never knew were in this house, like
Even look
behind
for.
that secret door. Yes. And the conversations for my children that they were able to have that they would have never had, I mean, he's gone now, and we laugh about some things, but then I learned things like, oh yeah, well, when we were sitting outside that day and I was watching him, he started crying and he said he was sorry because he this and that. And I mean, it just opens conversations. So I think that in the end, would we do it again? My husband would flat out tell you in a heartbeat he would do it again. No regrets. We have no regrets. Um, and it was hard. I can tell you it was hard. It puts a wrinkle in your skirt, girl. But
It
it
makes
was
you think.
worth it.
When we think back on our lives and we think about the hardest things we have done,
Yes,
almost always the next part of that phrase is, but it was worth it.
it was worth it. Yeah.
I
Hard
love that.
things help you crack yourself open. And I think then you're healing and you're stronger for it in those moments. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I can't thank you enough. Let's end this. Let me ask you one more question. For someone
Sure.
watching this who is
Mhm,
considering embarking on this or
mhm,
might be in the throes of realizing this is going to happen,
mhm,
what is the one thing that you would want them to know or to walk away thinking about?
mhm. I would honestly say that I think that you can overplan it. I think that and I tend to try to do that. So when I'm thrown in the pool, I can't think about what stroke I'm going to do. I just need to get my head above the water. So, those kind of things, once you're in it, you can work through. But I think the key is to take that leap, is to just go for it. There's certain things you have to plan for, but I think that you can over plan it. I think that you can overthink it. And now you're 3 years down the road and more things have happened, or more challenges or job changes. And now you think you can't afford it. But I'm just saying, I think that,
If it's already in your heart, if it's already something you're thinking about, that is the indication.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. I think you act on it. Love does. Just get in there and do it, and you will work those things out. You'll be surprised by the conversations that come up, and then the people, as we were saying, that you can run into that are like, "Oh my gosh, my mother-in-law is driving me crazy because she keeps knitting, or her cat keeps getting into the dog food, or whatever it happens to be." And you're like, oh, wait, do they live with you? And they're like, oh, yeah, they've lived with us for like 10 years. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, tell me more about that. And they're like, yeah, well, they came down, they stayed, their house caught on fire while they were gone, and they just never left. And you're like, okay, well, you can learn a lot from that. So I don't know. I think don't overthink it.
Oh,
Take the leap.
couldn't agree more. Take the leap.
Take the
Absolutely.
leap. Do
Trina,
it.
thank you so much for sharing your
Yes.
wisdom and your insights and the real talk. It's
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Erin.
much.